Welcome to the New Year podcast, where we take a step back and question the quiet assumptions and unwritten rules of modern life.
I'm Ryan, and with me is Daisy. In each episode, we take a closer look at the ideas we often take for granted. And today, we're talking about a big one, the New Year.
There's a certain quiet magic to the end of the year, isn't there? A collective pause. We're told it's a clean slate, a chance to begin again. But as the fireworks fade and the calendar flips, I often wonder how much of that is real and how much is just expectation. Ryan, do you find that the idea of the new year still holds the same weight for you as it once did?
That's a great question, Daisy. I think the weight of it has certainly shifted for me. It's less about a dramatic transformation and more about a gentle moment of reflection. The punctuation mark feels softer now than it did in my 20s.
A gentle moment, I like that. But it's hard to find that gentleness amidst all the noise, the pressure to have the perfect New Year's Eve, to set these grand, life-altering resolutions.
Oh, absolutely. The social script for New Year's is incredibly powerful. You're expected to be out, celebrating, making declarations.
Right.
And if you're not, if you prefer a quiet night in with a book, there's this lingering sense that you're somehow doing it wrong.
Exactly. And the resolutions, that's a whole other layer of pressure. It feels like we've almost commercialized self-improvement. New Year, New You is a marketing slogan as much as it is a personal mantra these days.
It frames the previous year's self as inadequate, something to be discarded rather than built upon. I'm not entirely convinced that's a healthy starting point for genuine growth.
That's such a good point. It's almost like we're encouraged to feel a sense of failure about the past 12 months just to motivate us for the next.
Precisely. And to what end? Most resolutions, statistically, don't last beyond February. So arguably, the entire system sets us up for a feeling of disappointment.
So it's a cycle of manufactured hope followed by predictable failure. That's a bit bleak, isn't it?
It can be, but I think the alternative is to reclaim it, to separate the cultural ritual from the personal meaning. The turning of a year is, after all, an arbitrary marker in time.
Arbitrary, yes. But it's a powerful one because it's a shared marker. Maybe its value isn't in the date itself, but in the fact that so many of us are pausing to think at the same time.
That's a more optimistic take, and I think I agree with that to some extent. There's a certain energy in that collective reflection, a feeling of shared humanity, even if we experience it differently.
A shared energy.
Perhaps the trick is to tune into that energy without succumbing to the specific, often prescriptive demands of the holiday.
So, to reformulate, it's about using the occasion as a prompt for personal reflection rather than a deadline for reinvention.
Yes, exactly that. It's an opportunity, not an obligation. I've found more value in looking back and acknowledging growth or simply noticing what happened, rather than sketching out a rigid blueprint for a person I'm supposed to become overnight.
That makes so much sense. It removes the pass-fail dynamic of resolutions. It's not, did I achieve my goal, but rather, what have I learned? Or what did I experience?
Right. And it allows for continuity. The person you are on January 1st is essentially the same person you were on December 31st, just with a new calendar on the wall. And that's perfectly okay.
Yeah, that's more than okay. It's realistic. I wonder how much of this pressure has been amplified by social media. Everyone posts their highlight reels of the past year, their ambitious goals for the next. It can be overwhelming.
Undoubtedly. It creates a curated reality where everyone seems to be either living their best life or about to start it. The pressure to perform your year-end reflection and your New Year ambition is immense.
It is, that public declaration.
It's a far cry from, say, how our parents or grandparents might have marked the occasion. It was probably a more private, less performative affair.
I think you're right. Maybe there was a community aspect, but not this global stage where your personal goals are up for public consumption and therefore judgment.
Exactly. It introduces an element of comparison that can be quite toxic to genuine self-reflection. You end up tailoring your goals for an audience, consciously or not.
Right, choosing goals that sound impressive rather than goals that are truly meaningful to you, like reading 50 books a year. It's a great goal, but is it about the number or about the reading?
That's the core of it. The shift from qualitative experience to quantitative metrics. It's easier to measure, easier to post about, but often less fulfilling.
So the real challenge is to find an authentic way to mark the passage of time, one that feels true to you, whether that's a loud party or a quiet cup of tea.
Or nothing at all. I think giving yourself permission to just let it be another evening is also a valid choice. It's a quiet rebellion against that compulsory celebration.
I'm not sure I could ever fully do that. I think I'm still attached to the symbolism of it to some extent. The idea of a fresh start, even if it is just an idea, is still appealing.
And there's nothing wrong with that. The symbolism can be a powerful tool for mindset, as long as you're the one in control of the narrative, not the other way around.
Right, controlling your own narrative. I guess that means deciding whether January 1st is the start of a new book or just the start of a new chapter in the same ongoing story.
I like that metaphor. For me, it's definitely a new chapter. The plot continues, the characters are the same, but there's an opportunity for a slight shift in tone or direction.
A slight shift, not a total rewrite.
Exactly. A rewrite implies the original was flawed beyond repair. A new chapter simply means the story is progressing, and that feels far more hopeful and far less pressured to me.
That's a much kinder way to approach it. I think that's what's missing from the mainstream discourse. A sense of kindness towards our past selves.
It is. We're encouraged to be such harsh critics of the person we were yesterday. But that person got us here, learned the lessons that we now hold. They deserve some acknowledgement, not just dismissal.
Acknowledgement. It makes the whole process feel more like an evolution.
So, as we stand on this threshold between what was and what will be, the conversation has shifted. It's less about grand external resolutions and more about a quiet internal alignment. It's about checking in with yourself and asking not just, what do I want to do, but perhaps more importantly, how do I want to be? For any listeners reflecting on this change, maybe the most useful question to carry into the new year is a simple one. What does this moment truly mean to you, away from all the noise? Exactly. An evolution, not a revolution. And that reframing is incredibly liberating. It takes the pressure off this one single day to be the catalyst for monumental change. Instead, it positions change as something that is constant, gradual, and ongoing. A process we are always in the middle of, rather than something we have to jumpstart with a confetti cannon. Exactly. An evolution, not a revolution. And that reframing is incredibly liberating. It takes the pressure off this one single day to be the catalyst for monumental change. Instead, it positions change as something that is constant, gradual, and ongoing. A process we are always in the middle of, rather than something we have to jumpstart with a confetti cannon.
I love that image. A confetti cannon of forced enthusiasm. And you're right, real change is quieter. It's the small, consistent choices we make every day, not the grand, sweeping declarations made once a year under the influence of champagne and peer pressure.
Exactly. An evolution, not a revolution. And that reframing is incredibly liberating. It takes the pressure off this one single day to be the catalyst for monumental change. Instead, it positions change as something that is constant, gradual, and ongoing. A process we are always in the middle of, rather than something we have to jumpstart with a confetti cannon. Exactly. And those small choices are often invisible to others. They're not Instagrammable. You can't post a picture of yourself not losing your temper or choosing to listen instead of reacting. But that's where the real work happens, the internal shifts.
The internal shifts. That brings up another point. We focus so much on the what of our resolutions. Lose 10 pounds, learn a language, save more money. But we rarely think about the why or the how. Why do I want to lose weight? Is it for health or is it about societal pressure? How am I going to approach this in a way that is kind to myself? Which is a classic resolution that gets abandoned by January 15th.
Right. But an intention might be to bring more mindfulness and calm into my daily life. That intention can be fulfilled in countless ways. Maybe it is a 20-minute meditation, but it could also be a 2-minute breathing exercise while the kettle boils. It could be mindfully washing the dishes. It's a much more flexible and compassionate approach.
And it's less about a pass-fail metric. With the goal, if you miss a day, you failed. With the intention, you just gently bring yourself back to it in the next moment. It's a practice, not a performance.
A practice, not a performance. That's a great way to put it. It removes the ego from the equation. So much of the New Year, New You culture is about performing self-improvement for an audience. And intention is private. It's for you.
This makes me think about the language we use. The word resolution itself sounds so rigid, so absolute. It's about being resolute. It doesn't leave much room for being human, for having an off day, for changing your mind. Oh, I love that. A guiding theme. It feels so much more expansive. If your theme is creativity, it doesn't just mean taking a painting class. It could mean trying new recipes, finding a more creative solution to a problem at work, or even just daydreaming more. It invites you to see opportunities for creativity everywhere.
And it allows for discovery. A rigid resolution presupposes you know exactly what you need. A theme leaves room for the universe to surprise you. You might start the year thinking creativity means writing a novel, and end it realizing it meant learning to garden. The expression of the theme can evolve as you do.
So, as we approach the turning of the page, perhaps the best resolution is to have no resolution at all, just an intention, to be a little kinder to ourselves, to embrace the ongoing process of becoming, and to find our own quiet, meaningful ways to mark the passage of time. It's about trading the pressure of reinvention for the grace of evolution.
That's a perfect thought to end on. Thank you for joining us. I'm Ryan.
And I'm Daisy. We'll be back soon with another topic to reconsider. Until then, take good care.